Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Finance Committee meeting for the Orange County Funding Corp. Today is what's today? 21st of February. And I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask our Executive Director to do the roll call. Bill, please.
Yes, Mr. Jeffrey Christ.
Here.
Mark Green.
Present.
Dean Tamburri.
Present.
James Rinaldi is absent. Well, he's not absent. If you want to cover that piece.
Yes, we have recently received communication from board member James Rinaldi of his resignation from the Orange County Funding Corp. So he's no longer on this committee, and we'll address that at some time in the future.
But all other committee members are present. Staff-wise, myself, Bill Fioravanti, CEO, project manager Kelly Riley, and we have Mr. Jose Rojas here from Acquisitions Marketing doing our AV.
Thank you.
And Mark, you'll lead us from this point, Mark Green,
Sure.
as committee chair, I believe.
Jump right in.
I am.
Get to work.
I'm a babe in the woods right now, so I apologize. I'm sure I'm going to make some mistakes. So we've done the roll call, proof of notice,
Yes, in your packet.
and so we're good on that.
Yes.
All right. So next up, we need to approve minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look?
Yep, from the January 17th Finance Committee meeting.
Fantastic. Do we have a
I'll make a
recommendation?
motion to approve.
Fantastic. Seconded.
All in favor?
I also am in favor, so.
We'll do a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
There we go, 3 ayes. Carries.
All right. Let's move on then. New business.
There we go. We're moving swiftly already.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to page 5 for looking at our January 2024 financials. Now, of course, we have, and I didn't even introduce her, we have Shannon Manisi, our external CFO from RBT. I'm sorry, she's staff too, really, technically. Thanks for joining us, Shannon.
Which
You want
entity are we looking at first?
to say again?
Which entity are we looking at first?
We are Orange County Funding Corporation.
Okay, just
We're-
making sure.
Thank you. So we're going to start with our P&L statement for OCFC.
Okay, so there's not much activity. There was
No.
$19 in interest on the loans and $480 of interest on banking and CDs. So that's a total of $499.43 of income for the month.
And I just will note, you'll see there are 2 extra columns, so the format's a little different on the reporting. That's the committee chairman's doing, but it helps. We added actual columns for the previous 2 months. So you'll see those, just so you get a little trending on expenses and revenue. There is a little challenge with QuickBooks in that you see for those prior months, we don't have budget figures in there. QuickBooks actually can't run a report that covers 2 different budget years. So we'd have to manually plug in the budget figures for, it'll be different when we're in March, when we're looking at January and February of the same month. We'd have to punch these in manually, and Mark really didn't want us to do any labor-intensive stuff that wasn't necessary because he was mostly looking at the trending on the actuals. Is that true, Mark?
Correct.
Okay, terrific. So I just want to orient you to this slightly different look. Any questions on the January P&L for OCFC?
I had a couple, the interest earnings, they're kind of slotted when CDs get mature.
Correct.
And the reason,
We
And
don't get
we-
estimates, we don't get statements in between then, typically. So it's when it's closed out, it's using the figures there.
and the reason we're not showing any expenses is why for January?
We didn't have any invoices coming in.
Oh, okay. That
Okay.
seems a little strange, but
Well, there's not too much with OCFC.
Activity
Okay.
with
However,
OCFC.
Let's talk about our, new policy this year of sharing expenses
Mhm.
across both
Right.
organizations. That's triggering that for me, and it hadn't before. We're doing that through journal entries, right, Shannon? Essentially?
Yes, so we are going to, any invoices that are allocable to both entities, we are going to do journal entries once that has been settled, because that hasn't been actually formally approved, to my knowledge. we will go back and do those journal entries to get the expenses in OCFC.
Okay, so,
Well, I was just gonna add, so it'll be the money will actually be transferred from one to other, quarterly, monthly? Or
Yeah, so what would happen is we would do an invoice from the IDA to OCFC for whatever invoices or costs that OCFC would then share, and OCFC would cut a check to IDA as if it was another vendor and an outside expense.
okay, so what about, like this month, for example, and every month, we're paying rent, and that's one of the ones we think is applicable, where 16% of that expense should be attributed to the OCFC. Will we see it in the current
Yeah.
month, or we'll only see it at the end of that quarter when it's trued up?
So you had thrown a few ideas out when we had met, and you were going to take it to the board because you weren't sure which way you were going to do it, whether it was going to be a quarterly thing. So it just depends on what is decided. It could be a quarterly thing, and that's absolutely fine, where it's just a quarterly invoice from the IDA to OCFC for particular shared expenses, and then a check would be cut to cover those costs.
All right, well, this is the group to talk it out, I think. So the alternative to quarterly is each month, which is more labor.
It's monthly. It really doesn't matter which way it's done. Quarterly is less administrative work, to be honest, because you're still covering the same cost.
I mean, I think quarterly is fine. I mean, I just like to ask that, at year end, how that would work. At year end, would it matter if it wasn't cut until the?
It wouldn't be any different because it'd be based on what was approved in the budget.
Okay.
So if you're gonna take your annual expense for rent and you're gonna allocate whatever the percentage was, I think it was 84/16.
Correct.
So 16% of the rent, and you're gonna take that 16% of the annual cost of rent and divvy that up quarterly to OCFC. But it would be on a monthly or a quarterly invoice to OCFC.
What are your thoughts?
So whatever those shared expenses are, it would be a quarterly invoice breaking out whatever those expenses are. Then it would be detailed, so you would know exactly what it is.
I think another thing, Dean, even if it was monthly, you still would be paying that off in January. You know what I'm saying? So, even, your December payment would still be in January.
Correct.
So, you know what I mean? So I don't think it matters either way. If you're paying the previous quarter in January, you're paying the previous month. in
Yeah,
January.
we would have to do the accrual for the audit purpose anyway.
Okay.
So it would still line up from an annual perspective to get all your months in the right year.
It's just getting our arms around it. I think seeing 0 for the month on expenses is a little strange, but with the understanding if we do it quarterly and that'll spread out, I'm fine with quarterly if that's more efficient. It sounds like it would be to some degree.
Yeah, because right now, the budget versus actual are showing just the cash basis expenditures that the entities are incurring. It's timing of when the actual bills come in versus when they get paid. So, but we do accrual basis for the audit purpose at year end. And talking about sharing the expenses, that will also now show, depending on what's approved, whether it's monthly or it's quarterly. And we will do that catch up once that's determined how we're gonna do it.
So real quick, do you have this in front of you? Do you have our sheet in front of you by chance?
Which sheet, the budget?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the budget versus actual.
Good.
All right, so in theory, like when you look at the January 2024, like the admin costs are 333.33, right? You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So basically,
Yeah, the bookkeeping cost, yep.
right, so basically that whole section is going to be paid off at the end of the quarter. Is that correct?
Well, no, so there are certain expenditures that are billed directly from vendors to OCFC. So bookkeeping, RBT, that's us, we are going to be billing OCFC directly. Fiscal audit, that is PKF O'Connor, so you see that 6,000 that's in the December. They bill, we book the fee in December. So that will be booked directly to OCFC, that's not a shared expense. So only the shared expenses will show up in the month that they actually come, or only the expenses that are not shared expenses will show up in the month that they come in. The shared expenses will show up depending on how we do it quarterly, or if you would like me to allocate a monthly, I can do it monthly.
All right.
But I can tell you, bookkeeping, fiscal audit, insurance are all billed separately. Professional fees are gonna be billed separately. Your travel, well, I don't know what travel would be going over here, but, anything in that line would most likely be, well, I guess if we allocate payroll, an allocation of payroll would go to that line as well, quarterly.
So there's a couple of things so do we have a list, that we have what are the shared costs exactly gonna be?
Basically, looking at the budget is how I would do it, the way I
Right.
have it, I'd show you both budgets.
And then, so then we wouldn't see any of that, it wouldn't hit until April, I would imagine, am I correct, is my next thing.
Correct. So, go ahead.
No, I was just the only thing I was gonna say, does the committee, whether it's booked quarterly or not, still wanna see some of where we stand with it going each month, I guess is the question, without actually booking it, if that's possible or not, or if that's.
Well, I think what I would like to see is that, some sort of designation, either asterisks or, italicized or something, so that we know
This is a shared, this
this
is one
is,
where.
this is a shared, we'll see that
Expense
at the end of the quarter, right? Because, my assumption was it was gonna be all of these, and now it's not bookkeeping,
Yeah.
it's not fiscal. So, if we could just asterisk I don't know if your program can do that
Or
yet.
bold them or something, we could put
Or in parentheses.
Put something at the beginning or end of the GL title, so.
Yeah, you know what I mean, just something, so that way, when we're looking at this, we can say, all right, that's, that's gonna be compounded for 3 months, then that'll get paid off, that kind of thing. This way, it just makes it a little bit clearer for all of us,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
Sure, yes.
We could do
sure.
it monthly if that would be easier for you. It could be a monthly reoccurring expense. It really is, it makes no difference to make it a reoccurring monthly bill from IDA to OCFC.
Well,
And make it
that would
a
be
bill
better.
that takes-
Yeah, then, you know what, I think that's, it seems
Then
like,
it shows up monthly for you.
yeah, I think we're trying to save $1 to
Yeah.
spend 10. And so,
So you're saying they would write the checks, everything, transfer the funds, everything monthly? Okay.
It would be paid as a normal vendor. I wouldn't do transfers. It would literally be an invoice from IDA to OCFC for shared costs.
And that could be in one check form as well, or we want it to be several, right?
One,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
the
So
invoice.
then that's not that bad, yeah, okay. Okay.
All right, so monthly it is?
Sounds good.
Makes
You do
sense.
monthly?
I don't really need any motion for anything like that.
I don't think so either. All right, so monthly invoicing. All right, so we had $500 in income and no expenses this month. We're on our way to a $6,000 year.
We're doing great already.
We're doing awesome.
Okay, done with P and L, OCFC?
Yes.
And our accounts? All right, Sheena, page 6, please.
Okay, in looking at your CDs, there are 3 CDs that are open as of this meeting. So 547 in TD, 599 in JP Morgan, and 600 in Lakeland. So it's a total of 1.7 in CDs, and you have 162,000 in the checking account for a total of 1.9.
All right, then there's really nothing to do here till next month. So unfortunately, you'll have to get rates again for next month. You're very tan.
Right?
Were you in Florida?
No.
Better. Better parts unknown.
Oh, God bless. Welcome back. Yeah, so we'll talk about this and make a decision then as far as what we do with that, but really right now, there's nothing to do. till it comes good.
Yep. Okay?
Dean, you want me to get you an abacus?
No. Rough. Okay.
Last page is our small business resiliency loan status report. Shannon, do you want to report on this? You don't have to, right? Either way.
Sure, there's really been no change in
Yeah, no.
that at all. So there's $54,080 left in the balances. There's the few accounts that still have no payments to date for the 20,000, and that's it.
Do we
We're
contact?
89% paid.
Do we still contact them once a
Yeah,
month or whatever?
it's honestly
Because we
been
gotta
a few
do-
months since I have, and I,
Okay.
just the last couple of weeks, I've kind of pushed it on my calendar a little bit to go out there like I've done in the past and say, I mean, one in particular I talked to said, I said, even if you start with $100, because there's like a naughty list that was shared with the legislature, and you're on it, how about you pay 100 so I could take you off the list of someone that, you know, that's paying nothing? And yes, I'm definitely gonna do it this, I check back again in a few months, we haven't had your payment, yeah, I just was a little behind, but now I'm ready, nothing still. So it is overdue for me to get back there in front of them and continue to try and pressure them. We have talked around the issue before in finance and in the general board meeting about, do we wanna get tougher, do we want to, you know, should we send an official letter from our attorney or somebody else? You know, we've never really grabbed onto, you know, anything too biting in that regard, you know, but otherwise I've just been touching base. But it has been a few months for me, for sure.
There's no collateral that we
No.
have.
Plus, every month we send out a statement saying, hey, you owe this.
Oh, yeah.
And I always highlight.
Oh, for
the
sure.
No,
back
that's it
balances.
then you are. I
Oh,
mean,
they know.
You're talking about
Yeah.
additional correspondence.
Exactly.
You are.
Like
I'm
your
saying
collection
just in
tax.
general,
Every
that
month we
every
send
month
it
they
out,
go.
yeah.
Every month you just look at that, and you're like, there it goes, it's going over.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions on this or any others for Shannon? Or any of us, but while
I'll
we have
make a
Shannon.
motion to accept the financials.
Right.
Second.
All approved?
Aye.
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 Terrific.
Uh,
think we
Motion
need
to adjourn.
Yes, absolutely. Jeff,
You good with
wanna
that?
give a second?
Hold on one second.
Is there anything else on OCS?
No, just wanna make sure I didn't forget anything. Nope, that's it.
Okay, motion from Jeff, can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Terrific. End of that. Excellent. All right, well, we have to start again, right? So, let you call the meeting to order. Mr. Green?
To the finance committee. I could
Please.
do it.
Please.
Maybe Dean was doing the finance committees.
It was officially Rinaldi. I think Dean did jump
Oh,
in a few times.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and then it officially became Mark at the reorganization.
Yes.
Just let me know.
I'll jump in here. Very good. Do you want to do a countdown?
Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready, we're still rolling.
Oh, we're still rolling. Okay. I'd like to call the Finance Committee for the Orange County IDA to order. And ask for the roll call, please.
Sure. Mark Green,
Present.
Jeff Christ,
Here.
Dean Tambury.
Here.
Mr. James Rinaldi is not here, but for staff, myself, Bill Fioravanti, Kelly Riley, Shannon Manisi, our external CFO, and Mr. Jose Rojas here for AV.
And point of clarification, James Rinaldi has resigned from the Orange County IDA Board, so therefore does not have a seat at this time on the committee. And we have proof of notice
We do,
in our packet,
correct.
and we'll move on to the minutes. Any additions, corrections to those minutes by the committee before we ask for a motion? Would anyone care to make a motion to accept those
I'll make a motion.
minutes by Dean? Second to that motion by Mark. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. And moving on to new business, the January 2024 financials. Mark, please.
Well, actually, I will defer.
And I'm gonna defer to Shannon. We're
Right.
gonna defer to Shannon.
We're going around.
Anyone behind you?
I like
Yeah, I just,
Is there anyone back there? Behind the
I
screen?
don't think there's anybody behind me in my office. Okay, so for January, there was a $2,500 application fee that was for the castle.
Yeah, lunches.
And then there was the normal rent, and there were interest earnings of $43,000. So
That's
a
on the
total
T-bill.
of $47,401.68 for income in the month of January. A few things in expenses for administrative costs. There was $250. That was a Fast New York application. Insurance, that was the month, or the annual bill came in. Last year it came in early, so it was a prepaid. This year it came in right at year end, so it actually got paid in the current year, and that was for the liability policy. In travel and lodging, there's the New York EDC annual conference hotel stay and the holiday party cost.
It's called a holiday
Jumping down to
meal. It
membership.
was a meal, not a party. We'll call it a holiday meal. So, go ahead,
Holiday
Shannon.
meal, okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Go ahead, just go ahead.
And membership and events, there's the New York State EDC registration and the chamber membership, and Orange County Association of Towns and Villages. We've changed the local labor auditing title as per Mark's request. The labor auditing fees, not passed through anymore, because there is no more being passed through. You have your normal monthly payroll expenses, nothing out
So,
of your
real,
normal.
real quick, so that $1,350 is actual, we are paying that out, because that is the old Legoland, I
Yep.
still assume?
That is cost to the IDA,
Yep.
because everything else is now flowing through the escrow account.
That's usually what I apologize.
Shannon,
Yeah.
I'm looking into that right now, because I kind of disagree with that. I think that belongs with a project, but I have reached out to land engineering to find out where that $1,350 goes, because they sent us an invoice, but there was no project associated with it, and that's why Marty had put it in the,
No, there wasn't a project associated with it, that's why we put it through.
yeah.
Okay, so if it is, then we'll take that out of there, and then we'll code it to the right project, but based on the invoice, it wasn't coded to a project.
That's correct. And I reached out to them, I'm
Okay.
waiting to hear from them.
Okay.
So then the 13 could or would end up in the labor auditing fee. Is that correct? I mean, am I, Is it-
You won't see.
No, it would go to the balance sheet and get out of the expenses.
Yeah, Dean,
Gotcha.
we decided to no longer do the pass-through, so you don't
Correct.
see it, because it's, comes from the applicant and goes out to the firm, the monitoring firm, except for Legoland or, when we did, so that's why we think this is a
Or
miscoding
Local
issue.
Grill,
Yeah,
when they charge us the $560.
just for the reporting, unrelated to the specific project. So we think you shouldn't see that. So.
And the rest are normal monthly expenses, and the only thing that isn't under normal monthly expense was there was a fire inspection fee that's included in the maintenance fee there.
Towards the bottom,
It's
62007.
under maintenance.
750?
Yeah, so the 725, that includes your normal cleaning fee, and then the fire inspection fee.
Do you see that?
Yeah, no, I see it, it just doesn't seem like it's out of.
No, it's not.
Well, we only pay that once a year, is what she said.
But he's saying it still kind of looks
Yeah.
in line, it doesn't look
Well,
like
that's
it's.
because there was no pest
It
control.
is in
there.
line, but I just wanted to
It's
point out
almost
that
the
it
same
was
amount of
something.
money.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Pest
Making sure.
control, life fire, oh, got it.
Any questions on the P and L here for OCIDA?
I don't think so, do you?
No.
No.
No, pretty
I'll
good.
make a motion to, well, I guess we do. 'em
Yeah,
together.
we'll go through the balances,
Yeah.
the accounts as well on page 6.
Sure. So with the 5 different CDs, there is 8.9 in CDs. And you have 503,000 in the operating account and 89,000 in the escrow account. that we were just talking about. So it's a total of $9,492,087.
And Mark, so with those two CDs, if we could stop on those, so TD Bank in February,
We closed that one out yesterday.
and then Lakeland matures on the 6th. You wanted to put those together, right? Is that what you're thinking?
That's what I'm thinking. So in looking at this, kind of coming up with a schedule, we've got January of '25, we have 5 mil. We've got, so that one comes due at the end of February. That's another 1 mil. We'll figure that out. These two will be 2.5. And then we have the 400,000 that'll finally come due in May. Okay. So, in a perfect world, I would like to see this kind of every 3 months, right? This way, we're always, if we need it, we will always have another tranche that's gonna come due, and that way we can kind of keep taking advantage of things. So I would say we wait until 3, let's say 7, technicality. We take that 2.5 and, you know, I'm looking at the rates. You know, to me, the JP Morgan Treasury seem to be the ones to really focus on. You know, if we did those in a 6-month, they would come due roughly September-ish, right? So they would come due in September. You would have 5 million that will come due 3 months later in January. And then we can take the million, and that comes due at the end of March, and I say we put that in a 3-month, because then we can marry it to the one that comes due in May. And then we can make a decision there whether continue that at 3-month, or we can see where we are with the tranche. It might be either a 3-month or a 9-month. That would take us to March of 25. Does that sound reasonable?
So I see that, so that after the one in March 6th matures, put that one, so that'd be 2.5?
Correct.
Right, okay. And then put the other two together, TD in March of 26 and May of 22 together? Is that right, or is it
You would take the TD,
from March of 20?
well, the one that comes due March 26th,
Mm-hmm.
we would put in a 3-month,
Okay.
okay? Because then that would come due in June roughly. We would then, the Connect One comes due in May, we would let that just sit for a month
Okay.
and then marry it up
Gotcha.
with the TD
Mm-hmm.
that comes due in June.
Okay.
And then from there, like I said, to me, it would either be a 3-month or a 9-month.
And then effectively, kind of like, with all this, end up with 3 rotating.
Staggered every 3 months.
Okay. Makes sense, everything kind of catches up to
Right,
itself.
and then that way, we're always, in case we ever, a great opportunity comes up with shovel ready, or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be, we're ready to go. But this way, we're still invested and collecting income on this.
That's
Make
great.
sense?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, what do you think? Are you good, right? You know what to do?
Yeah, you want 2.5 million in a 6-month T-bill.
Correct.
JP.
She's got this down,
she has this down.
She's got the lingo going, she's like, I'm gonna have her down on the exchange, she's gonna be doing the hand signals,
Excellent.
So nothing to decide now.
Well, no, it
That's
is,
the
it is.
decision.
No, it is a decision. We are saying, because this is gonna happen before our next meeting.
Oh, I got it. So
So,
we can schedule that
Make the motion.
after the 6th of March to happen.
yeah, so.
Okay, I got it.
In theory, the 7th of March, The sooner it gets in, the sooner we're making money. So,
The T-bills take a little bit longer to
Yeah.
set up,
yep,
about a week.
yep,
Can you start them ahead of time or not?
no,
I
because we
doubt
need,
it.
we
Because
need.
You gotta
they
have
need
the money.
funds.
Yeah, they kinda want the
Damn
money.
it.
That's their little thing. They get our money for a week that they get to use and not have to pay us for, so.
Got it.
No, actually, the money stays in our checking account and then it just gets swung over to the T-bills.
Yeah,
The
but what
day
I'm,
that-
but yeah, but I'm saying the bank gets to keep that money
Oh, yeah.
and play with it for a week
Mhm.
and get their overnight rate.
Well, the same bank Chase.
Yeah. So I guess we make a motion
Absolutely.
that says we have the current, what just came due, I apologize, where did it go?
1.5 TD Bank.
TD Bank.
Sorry, I already have it underlined. 1.5, which is currently in our bank account, our checking account.
Yes.
When the Lakeland comes due on March 6th, we will then take 2.5 million out of checking and put it into a 6-month JP Morgan Treasury at 5.2%.
Or whatever it is at that point.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we should say that, whatever. If it fluctuates, that's what we want to do.
Great.
Is that a motion? Did I say that well enough to make it a motion?
I'll second your motion,
There you
Mike.
go. So moved, when you say
Okay.
that.
What's that?
So moved,
So moved?
because you said this would be your motion, so you
Okay.
make that motion. So moved,
Second.
second, and there we go. Terrific.
You just keep holding me by the hand,
Rocking.
walking me
And everybody
down,
approves.
walking me down.
You're gonna have the
I
script next
approve,
time,
yes.
Bradley Cooper.
We need the
All right,
vote.
so,
Yes.
Mark. Jeff, we didn't approve the financials yet, by the way, but that's because we're in the middle of them, of course.
Yes.
So, you want to do that motion, and do we vote on it?
I'll make a motion to approve the, well, actually, do we have to do the vendor payments?
Yeah, I thought you wanted to go.
We do, but I don't know if you want to do the CD, if you want to do that approval. Did we actually vote that?
Yeah.
We did?
Yes.
You, okay, got it, done, thank you. All right, sorry.
I so
Keep
moved.
moving. You so moved. Yeah, but I didn't hear the vote, that's why I didn't hear.
Yeah.
All in favor?
I don't think Mark did, but.
Kelly snuck it.
Yeah, really? How about all in
It was
favor?
really-
She was
Yes,
moving
good,
on it.
good.
It was really, yeah, she was waiting for me, I was like,
Can we do an all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, okay. Make you feel better. All right. Shannon, did you want to do these payables? You want us to cover these? What do you think is most appropriate?
So, you guys usually cover them, not me, but.
Before we get into it, though, I don't know how far we want to go down, but when we were working on revising our financial reporting for this committee, with Mark's suggestion about the 2-month prior, history there, we also were looking at this sheet, which is, frankly, we inherited this. It's a series of, is it a pivot table? Or it's a series of pivot tables?
Yeah.
All right, it's a pivot table, all right? So there's a lot of population or a lot of data that kind of feeds all these fields, and there's a lot of manual work that goes into doing this. So it's something we had a discussion at the same time about automating this or making it streamlining. Shannon, is it appropriate time to kind of talk about how we would do it so that the board, the committee expresses their comfort level with it? We decide to go ahead with that? We talked about you sharing that a little bit.
So, there are a couple of things that we can do with this. So one of the things that we had talked about was Marty going in and entering the bills in QuickBooks. And with that, there would be a list that we could print out prior to us processing the bills for payment and doing the checks, because that would still be done by us at RBC. We would also still go in and do our normal process of verifying the information that's in QuickBooks to the support, the vouchers, and the invoices. It would just be that this particular spreadsheet would go away, and it would be a direct printout from QuickBooks.
Now we're still doing work outside of QuickBooks that I think should all be integrated. We're using a glorified spreadsheet, a glorified Excel sheet that we're typing in all the bill information rather than inputting them into QuickBooks. And I at a glance can't run a QuickBooks report and see, all right, what are our payables and such. It's somewhere else.
Yeah, so in my world, in my perfect world, I don't need I don't need this format, you know, per se. But, you know, what I would love to be able to do is to be able to say, you know, complete document solution, you know, black and white, and be able to look at the previous 3 or 6 months. This way, you know, you can glance and say, gee, okay, what's going, you know, is anything out of line, you know, so I can, because right now, you know, as we're trying to do this, it's like, all right, is, you know, First Columbia, 7,028, is that in line with 641? What was it 3 months ago? Like, you know, it feels like there's just not enough trend there for me to, you know, in the world.
I get it. You like trends.
Yeah.
So there are various reports that we could run out of QuickBooks if that is the data that is more beneficial and substantial for you as a board member and a finance committee member. So I'm just trying to.
While you're looking, Shannon, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole this evening, but from what I'm hearing, I'm wondering this is a segue back to the Bill.com conversation. Is that occurring to you at all as Mark's talking?
It could be, and until that demo could be scheduled again,
Yeah.
There is a list that I could show Mark that might at least satisfy that request that he just made until a demo could be set up.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I'll share and see if this is something that maybe would be acceptable.
Are you able to
But
share?
Mark, you
I
know.
don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know what screen you guys have, so
Mhm.
we'll see if this is something that, you know, you can zoom in on. Can you see it?
Yep.
Yep.
So, and you can filter this by, so I can filter it by month, by whatever, so we can play with it a little bit and make parameters. But you can see by vendor, and this is just by the month, you know, by the different vendors, and you can see, okay, these were the bills that came in, this is what got paid.
Okay, but let me ask you this. I mean, is there any way, anything that we can pull out that would have, you know, like all, like the transaction, like basically you see how you have the date there? If, you know, if the date was across the top, you know, where the amount is. So like for February, that's the amount. For, you know, the previous month, that was the, you know what I mean? So like, is there any way to see the amounts for the previous 3 months for those categories? Like some are gonna be zeros, a lot will be zeros, but that's good, that's okay.
So you want it to look like the more like the budget to actual column format.
That's what I was.
Yeah, I don't need it, I just need actual, I don't want budget, I just wanna see what the actual numbers
No,
are.
I mean, but I'm saying in that
Yeah.
column format.
Yeah.
I don't know, I have to play with it. QBO, the online version is a little more restricted in their reporting format. That they, like that report is just it's a brand new report that they just added because they didn't even have it. Their desktop version has had that for years. So I can play around with it, and what I can do is I can send a couple of different options and see if you like any of them.
Yeah, and again, you know, if you're just using this as an example, right, I don't know if you can, you know, I mean.
Yeah, I have it on my screen.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this says, you know, whatever it is, January, right? Because January closed on the 30th. And then, you know, December close, November close. You know what I mean? Just so you know, and I know we're trying to do it by hand inputting these numbers, but it just seems like that's extra work, and there's got to be a way. You know, you accountants, I mean, this is what you live for. It seems like there's got to be something we can see our expenses going back 3 months.
But you don't think
Oh
that
yeah,
if,
I mean, I could easily export this and dump it into any kind of report. It's just the goal was to utilize the software without having to manipulate any data.
Absolutely.
And have it to run a report. So I'll see what kind of reports I can get from QuickBooks without having to manipulate the data.
so let me just, so we would not use this program currently? This is a program that we have here? in front
No,
of us
this
for
is, this
This
is
is
a,
just them
this is
answering,
a advanced Excel sheet.
Okay.
So it's a bunch of
So-
Excel sheets tied together.
Okay, so that's that. So, in Mark, you don't think that if we had the QuickBooks with just this month's and then the year-to-date totals, that wouldn't be enough? And then you could always flip back to our budget actual, which actually gives us that monthly amount, and you would be able to see that there's,
Shows all the
Instead
prior
of-
months, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I mean,
I
Are
hear
we-
you,
are
but
we-
here's the thing, Dean, if,
No,
if this stuff
more
is getting
information.
put in, then it's in there.
Mhm.
So like, and now it's just saying, we just need to pull it out.
Line it
And
up.
and that's, yeah, I mean, and, you know, so that's the,
Mhm.
you know, the conundrum we have with this very sophisticated, and whoever set it up did a nice job, I'm certainly
It
not,
was the former CEO.
you know, but it's just, basically, it's, and I'm not, I don't wanna make any, but basically, you're trying to run a business just, you know, today. And, you know, that's not really how you do things, like, you'd wanna be able to, going through these vendors should take like 30 seconds. It should be, your eyes should be able to go right down the sheet and go, okay, hey, wait a minute, why is this one so out of whack? But right now, right here, like, you know, you look at something like, you know, the credit card payment. Well, is that a lot for this month? Is that not a lot? I have no idea. Like, you know, am I trying to remember personally what happened in September? Like, it's there somewhere. Somewhere we have these numbers.
Mhm.
And in the past, I was actually trying to like paste these together, you know, at home. And I mean, it's 2024. We got to be able to pull this stuff out in a way that makes
So
sense.
how many months history do you want, or months prior?
Yeah, you know, I mean, 3 minimum, you know, 6 would be nice, you know, you know, but like I said, there's gotta be a way so that Kelly's not inputting these by hand, because it just seems silly, like, and again, we're utilizing an Excel sheet that's not very user-friendly, and frankly, we should be incorporating all this data into our overall system, so our finance people can look at it immediately. It just seems like we're going through extra
I believe I
steps.
found your report.
I know you found my report, it's gotta be in there, I'm not that bright to be inventing something no one's done before.
Yeah, well, it's not you, it's QuickBooks that I don't have confidence in. It has its limitations.
Well, so then, is there something you suggest that we switch to, then, if we're switching to something completely?
No, it has it. So you can see, so by vendor, and then you have your month.
That's all I want. Like, I don't need to know, you know, the location of, you know, I mean,
No, I see that, you don't.
you know what I mean, like, there's a lot of extraneous stuff here, but now I can see month to month exactly what's going on.
Okay.
And real quickly, you know, it jumps out at me like, okay, why, you know, okay, Bill, why Capacity Market Inc.? How come, you know, is that not a monthly thing, or we just pay that quarterly, or?
We had to catch up on some billing. They didn't send us a couple invoices, and then frankly, I was disputing a couple of them, and we settled it, so now we're caught up.
All right, you know, I mean, you know, like, so now you can sit there and go, okay, what's that, First Columbia? All right, last month, same this month, all right, good, we're on, you know, cleaning, same as last, boom, keep moving forward. You know what
How
I
do we
mean?
replicate, however, where this report shows detail, which is basically the credit cards? We'd have to kind of manually provide detail on credit cards?
Well, keep in mind that this report was created from Mike Torelli when he first started, because he
Yeah.
wanted to know exactly where every penny went.
We did.
Right. That's, I mean, I don't know.
How else, what's an alternative that this committee would satisfy this committee in terms of how we could tell you? Because that report that Shannon showed you will say M&T credit card, $2,612. How do we show you, how would you like us to show you that detail? Or would you?
Or do you not want us to show?
I don't think we need it.
Well, I'm not ready to
Not
throw,
that you can't get it.
I'm not ready to throw that out just yet. I mean, that still has to be input somewhere, because checks are being cut for these people.
Yeah, but she's just, I mean,
But-
she's entering every one of these.
Not to a credit card, though. If it's a
On-
credit
on
card,
this-
That's
On
what-
this
that's-
Excel
that's what I'm
spreadsheet, we are
saying, that's what
entering
I'm
each
saying.
line.
Yeah.
but if we paid something, 10 things via credit card, you're not gonna see those in Excel. You're gonna see, I mean, in QuickBooks. In QuickBooks, you're gonna see
Bill for that.
M&T credit card,
I don't know. Just to me, doesn't seem like.
I mean, we could provide another way. We could, if you wanted
I
it,
just
just
take it from there and redo it.
I mean, it's a sheet,
Why not?
credit card usage, and it could just be itemizing it.
Yeah, can we just copy the credit card bill and put that in the packet instead of you typing it all in?
If that's what you wanna do, we sure can.
Yeah.
Would that make it easier for you? I'm here to make your life easier.
Yes, not cheap.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem copying the credit card bill. It's 2 credit cards, so yeah,
Yeah.
we can do that, that's easy enough.
You know, and then this way we can just glance at the bill real quick and see if the credit card is out of payment, out of
Yeah.
whack. Then we can come back and say, well.
She
what are
takes it
these
directly
additional
from it,
funds?
so,
Exactly, so
yeah.
it seems like you're just.
Does anyone, like, for example, if the credit card bill comes in, before you pay it, do you initial it or something to say, okay, like you say, the credit card comes in,
I
you see the
review
bill.
it in this process, frankly.
Then you do it in this
Or
process.
just before you did, but yeah.
So that's the only other thing, as a committee, you say, okay, listen, maybe we don't have to see it, you get the bill, whatever, you initial it, and then we get the bill, then we're done.
If
Whatever.
something looks odd on
Yeah,
that sheet,
yeah.
Shannon just showed us for each month, we can go back to the
Something like
detail.
that.
But to review each of those details,
You initial.
doesn't
We
seem
don't have to make
logical
copies.
unless something looks out of line.
But putting them in a report is
Yeah.
nothing for us,
Yeah,
and so
that's
those
fine,
that
too.
are interested could look.
Yeah, and then this way, if something comes out, we could just, I mean, we don't have
Yeah.
to address it every month.
You're right, we
We
don't have
can
to
just
itemize
look
it. We
real
don't have to-
quick,
Sure.
yeah, we don't have to itemize and go through every one.
Yeah.
It just,
Sounds
again,
good.
instead of you retyping it.
Yeah. All right, in the interest of time, we should
Yeah.
pick up the pace again, so,
Mark, do you
thank
want
you
me
for that
to,
discussion.
could the credit card bill, instead of being put in the packet, can I just hand it to you like I did, like these
Well, I'm saying,
things?
I mean, you could, I would just staple it into the, you don't wanna do that?
It's
I
part of the
mean, I
plan.
can if you want.
Yeah.
The packet goes out online and everything too.
Gotcha. All right, then just do this. Just give it to us when we come in, as a supplemental.
Okay, I mean, it doesn't matter, I could do either or, I just
I
wanted to
don't
be
know,
clear.
I'm gonna stop there,
Clear.
because Sue's been very clear about this.
Yeah.
If you're gonna see it in the board meeting, it should be in the public packet.
Okay.
And of
Yes.
course, we're not trying to hide it.
Can you scan it? Can you
So-
scan it in?
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah, mhm.
I mean, it's here anyways, right? So
Yeah, I can do it.
we're not adding.
Yeah, there's
So
nothing
you
wrong.
guys all have access to the Dropbox?
No, they don't.
Yeah.
No? I was gonna say, put the credit card bills in the Dropbox, and then this way all the detail and the support is right there.
I don't think there's any detail that we leave out.
No, it's not.
From this, so
Again, it's not, we might not look at that for 7 out of 10, out of 12 months.
Agreed.
It just might be if something's really out of whack and we go, hey, wait a minute, why is there an extra $3,000 this month? Oh, here, let me show you real quick, bang.
Exactly. I think we just,
Yeah.
we scan it and include it.
Yeah.
Shannon, just before we move on,
Well, we
Okay.
have copies of all of it, so if during the monthly meeting, you're looking at the comparison and you want me to bring it up, we have access to it. So I can always go find it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the
Find out
two
what-
current months that
what
we
the
see in this
difference is.
format, let's have copies of those.
Done.
The only other question Shannon and I have is, for us to change now, Marty, I don't know if it's tomorrow, she starts entering bills in QuickBooks or what? I wanna know when this committee will see the different report. As soon as our March, meeting, we'll have everything in a different format, and this will be
Yeah,
gone?
if we change anything for this meeting, we'll make all the changes for the March meeting. So, I sent you a message and I sent Kelly an email
Yep.
regarding the new invoice. We'll determine what accounts, the budget account. We'll do the invoices for all 3 months. We'll get it caught up. We'll get the approval of how we want the invoice to look. And then everything will be for the March meeting, and everything will be that way going forward.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to, I think, go back and basically double work, you know what I mean? So you're gonna have to start from January 1st to put stuff in QuickBooks.
Right, okay.
No,
But
you would
to have
have
that
to
history.
invoice for those months.
Yeah, we do journal entries after the fact, instead of them being, so it's done almost manually as opposed to Marty putting in the bills and then they're generated out of there. We're doing after the fact the journal entries, RBT, so those figures are in there.
Oh, okay.
The history's in there,
All right.
yeah. Okay. All right, so I think we're good there.
Yeah, we would just do the invoice as an accrual basis, it's not an issue.
Okay. And I'm gonna whip through these, summary of these charges in this format, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Still on page 7. Keep our photocopies is 270 is the complete document solution, the other one's Xerox. Here, we overpaid last month due to trying to get rid of some late fees they kept charging us, so we overpaid. So they charge us that $1.99. First Columbia is our rent and such, pretty much right in line. Cleaning, the same. Town of Warwick, that's our water and sewer bill, which we do get quarterly and reimbursed in full by the tenants, now the tenant in Warwick. ITC, our usual for our network here. Let's see, Charter Communications is that credit card. You see the detail. I won't read it.
No,
But
Charter is the.
I'm sorry, Charter is internet. Sorry, right. Credit card process. That's M&T Bank Visa. The next one. You see that detail. If you have any questions, let me know. Next is our staff, our salaries and through EA Workforce. And capacity, as Mark touched on, we had disputed a couple bills and we were just catching up, and we hadn't paid them, so now we're paying them all together. Those are basically half rate of their normal rate for the PR work. So we're paying half for those months. That's what that $9,375 is. Zoltes is our phone system lease. Ehrlich is pest control in Warwick. And then you see our Elon card. You're seeing the detail there, typical stuff. A lot of our online services are there. So a total for recurring charges of $47,716.85, shown on page 8. That's the recurring. We'll keep going through it, and hopefully you can approve all three together. Second is our monthly contracts on page 9. 88 Studio, that's our usual. We're paying them $350 monthly for maintenance of our existing website. We often need that. We had a small project that they worked on to, basically, there's the news section of our website. We needed more history to be able to be accessible for people to view everything. They made a little kind of coding change there. That's the $300. Bousquet Holstein is of course, our council fee. RBT is Shannon and her team. Land, that is for our local labor monitoring. As Kelly said, she's questioning the $13.50. Acquisitions marketing for their work of what Jose does here to live stream our meetings. So the grand total on monthly contracts, the second tranche, $11,281. Third tranche, page 10, all other. WB Mason, you see those charges there. It looks like we had nothing the prior month, right? You just happen to have no such. That's why
We
you
don't
see
order
there.
every month.
Right. Association of Towns for my last dinner I went to. Town of New Windsor, we had our fire inspection. Pamela, that's another one. I know a couple of you have asked me about it, because same deal where the billing isn't always consistent. So they had to catch us up last month. That's why it was $8,000, but now this is more than a monthly figure, just over $3,000. And then Spectrum is our pension. Now these are the fees, the admin fees for our retirement plan that you see there. So grand total for all other category, $5,468.81. Any questions on any of those?
Okay, so that $1,650
Yep.
was for all of last year,
Yes, right? It's in
for the pension account.
for Spectrum.
Oh, that.
Right, that's a yearly fee, that's not a monthly fee.
It's the yearly lump fee, and then per employee, we had to pay admin fee, whatever that was, per employee. I forget that
The
figure.
setup, I believe, should be the one time. I mean,
Yeah,
and then obviously the admin, but
okay.
I don't know what the breakdown of that is, but if you want to get that, maybe, but I'm trying to think what he had said, or what our contract said, but.
Yeah, I do have that in my notes, but I have to
All
verify.
right, we'll see you
off the
next
top of my
month.
head. Yeah, we'll verify that.
All right.
For sure. So we already approved the CD. Do you think we need to approve financials and the payable separately, or all
I
together?
would do them together. I
Yes.
thought that was the direction we were working towards.
We're okay with that?
Yes,
Would someone like to make a motion?
yes, I'll make a motion to accept the financials.
All right, and payables?
I will second that.
Aye.
All,
Favor.
aye, all in favor, aye, against, none?
Terrific. And Kelly, you just want to touch on the escrow accounting piece, if you would, before I think we already satisfied that? Okay. I think it was Giovanni had a question in one of our board meetings about, was it?
Yeah,
What was?
yes, and we sent out a note and explained it to everybody.
Do you know what we're referring to, Shannon? Kelly's kind of deferring to you to explain.
are you talking about how the money comes in and it gets put to the balance sheet?
Yeah, he was wondering why, because of that pass-through, and that's why we took it off of the P&L sheet.
Yeah, so the escrow money is not technically the IDA's money. That's why it sits in an escrow account. So an escrow account is money that's being held for somebody else. And it sits on the IDA's books as a checking account. That's where the cash is sitting in an asset checking account, and it sits on as a liability. So when the money comes in, we put it in a bank account and we book a liability. And as expenses are being paid for each of the projects, we reduce that liability and we reduce the cash for the money that goes out. And we have a reconciliation so that as that money gets low, if that project has more expenses that are gonna come in, we send them, okay, you need to give more money because you're gonna incur more costs. So making sure essentially that the IDA is not gonna cover their costs. So it sits on the balance sheet. So if you want to see those accounts, we can easily include those in the monthly reports as well.
I mean, I'm assuming this is the 89,000.
So
Yes.
that is the 89,000, yeah.
Right, okay.
That's what's sitting in the cash.
Right, so that is in essence the pass-through account. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Any other questions? We just want to make sure we covered that. A motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?